Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and my second video on making 3D papercraft ornaments with a Cricut machine. In my first video, I showed you how to make these ornaments using some pre-made designs which I created for you. This video, we're taking things one step further and we're designing our own custom ornaments within Cricut Design Space. I've created some blank templates for you, this round one and also an oval shaped one too, for if you want to make slightly different shaped ornaments. And in this video, I'll show you how to turn the blank empty sides of all of the ornaments into ones that's decorated with whatever images you want. Let's get started. You can download the free cutting file for this project at craftwithsarah.com/free-svgs or follow the link in the description of this video to go straight to the download page. The download comes in a zip folder and you need to unzip this before you can upload the files into Cricut Design Space. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and start a new project, and then go into Upload over on the left, and then Upload Image. You can see I've already got a load of the different templates in my recent uploads. And before we go any further, I'll just show you a little bit about why I've got so many. When you look at the unzipped version of the folder, you'll see there are two folders within that. One called Circular Ornament and one called Oval Ornament, and that's for the two different shapes. And then within there, you've got DXF files, PNG, and SVG. For Cricut Design Space, it's the SVG files you want, so look in there. Ooh, didn't double click that properly. And then we've got 5 separate SVGs, and they all start with SVG-ornament, but then the word after that is different. And that's because I've made 5 versions with 5 different images above the little side panels. There is a circular one, a Gothic one, which is kind of like a Gothic railing effect, a heart shape, a star, and a Christmas tree. And just to show you the difference, let's take a look. So if I click this one and just add it to my canvas so you can see, this is the Christmas tree one. And this is the oval design. So you see we've got this little Christmas shape, which is what's going to slide into all the edges on the circles to make up the sides of my ornament. But if I delete that one and then choose, let's go, the star, everything else is exactly the same apart from this time, instead of that Christmas tree, there's a little star shape above each of the sides. And I've changed the colours too, just to make it a bit clearer which one's which. So that's the reason there are 5 different ones. It's just to give you that extra little bit of customization. Let's just look at the heart one. There you go. So you get the picture. To upload the SVGs, I'm just going to go back to Upload and Upload Image. And then you can either click Browse to find the files on your computer or drag and drop them in. I'm going to use the circular ornament for this video and the Gothic one, which is my original one. It's the one I like best. Press Upload, and then just like I was doing before, click it to get the green border, and then press Add to Canvas. And here's how it loads in. The parts we're going to be customizing are these 6 segments here. This is what makes up the sides of the ornaments. So first, let's click and ungroup the layers with this button here to separate them all out. I'm going to use some images from Cricut Access to add my decorations, but you can use uploaded SVGs if you prefer. So I'm going to go to Images, and I think I might do a Christmas tree themed ornament. So let's have a little search for Christmas tree. And to make this easier, I'm going to go into Operation Type and press Cut Only, because I don't want any draw or print and cut. I only want cut lines. And to make it even easier, you can go into Layers and choose single, and then we'll only see one layer images, which can make things a bit easier. When you're searching for images to add, there are two different ways you can do the sides. You can either join lots of pictures together onto the edges. For example, this tree would be perfect for that because there's no teeny tiny cutouts in it and it's a nice solid shape. Nothing's going to fall apart when we try and cut that out. This one, on the other hand, would not be a great image to choose because the lines in it are really, really thin. So to cut that small from cardstock would be very difficult. The other type of side you can add is a silhouette style cutout stencil. And I think this would be a great option for that because you can see that none of the pieces are touching on this one. So what we can do is fill in the edge of our bauble and then cut these shapes out of it to make a stencil. This would be another one that would work great as a stencil. So I'm just going to have a little look through and choose a few more Christmas trees. And that's another one that would look great as a stencil, but it's kind of similar to those ones I've already chosen. So I'll try and find something a bit different. Now, something like this with all of those little spots would not be a good option to choose for this tutorial because when you cut this out, you're going to lose the middle and all those spots are just going to fall apart and it's not going to stay joined together and it's just going to be a little bit of a mess. Quite like that little tree, I'll choose that one. This would be another lovely silhouette. So I've now got three I say silhouette, I mean stencil. So I've now got three stencil designs. Actually, I'm going to choose this one because the gaps are a bit bigger, so it'll be a bit easier for the Cricut to cut. So I've now got three stencils and two silhouettes. So I need one more silhouette. Let's look through. A nice simple tree shape where everything's joined. This one's a little bit similar to what I've already got, I think. Let's see. Oh, I like that one. And those lines are really thick, so it should work small. Everything's touching, so I'm not going to lose any details. Fabulous. Okay. And oh, I like that one too. I'm going to add that one in. I've got too many now, but it's fine. Okay, I'm imagining these will load in really big, which they have. So we'll make them all smaller. And then we can start adding them into the edges. I'm going to do each edge with a different pattern, a different tree. But if you want to, you can alternate. I mean, you could even just do one and repeat it 6 times. What I often do is 2 or 3 designs. And then if there's 2, I'll repeat them 3 times to make the 6. Or if there's 3, you only need to repeat them once. I'll start by doing the stencil cutouts because they're a little bit easier to show. So I've got 1, 2, and 3. And we will zoom in so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, the first thing we need to do if we're doing stencils is to fill in the middle of the edge. Middle of the panel. That makes more sense, doesn't it? All right, so I've got this piece selected. Then I'll click Contour at the bottom of the Layers panel and then click on the middle shape, or you can press Hide All Contours and then close. And that's filled that in. Now I can drag my little Christmas tree over it, make sure it fits. There we go, position it where you want. And that tree trunk is very close. My Cricut will struggle with that. So I'm actually going to contour out the bottom and make a little rectangle instead. I didn't mean to click images, I meant to click shapes. And there we go. Just make a teeny tiny tree trunk from that instead. There we go. Oh, a little bit further down, otherwise we're going to have the same problem. If you want to, you can also add extra details. For example, I could add some little stars or circles to look like snow. We'll go for some little snow circles. Make that really small. And add a few of these in the background. You could add snowflake images or anything you want in here. When you've finished adding the decorations, you need to click one of them in the Layers panel, press Shift on your keyboard, and then choose all the other little pictures that you've put in there. And now I've got them all selected. I can go Combine and Weld to join them into one layer. So they've now all changed to one colour and one layer. Then drag a little box that touches your panel and your shapes and press Slice. And that will cut out the pictures from the panel. So we can delete the slice result layers that show the tree. And then we'll end up with our panel shape, and that image has been cut out of it beautifully. I'll do the same for this one. So I'll contour in the middle. And then add this tree on top. Don't want it to go into anything where this line is, so don't go past that. And this time, I think I'll just do those. So I'll just arrange, align and center just to put that in the middle. And then slice. Nice and simple this time. Delete those two slice results, and then we're left with this one. And then one more stencil. Fill that in. Drag this one over. I think I'll make this one a little taller. This one might be quite hard for the Cricut to cut because some of those gaps are pretty tiny, but we'll give it a go. And slice. And delete. Right, 3 of our sides are done. That was nice and quick, wasn't it? Now we're going to do the other 3 in the other style, which is joining the images to the existing gap. I'll start with this one. Make it a bit bigger. And I like having images touch kind of at the top and the bottom. So that works well. But we have a slight problem in that some bits of this tree are poking out over the edge, and we'll need to cut those off. The easiest way to do that is to click on one of the inner panel shapes in the Layers panel, these little solid bits here, and press Duplicate to make a copy. Drag that over to where your image is, and then select that, press Shift on your keyboard, and choose the image underneath. And again, we will slice. That will cut the blue shape out of our picture. So I can delete those 2 blue bits and then the slice result layer that is on the edge. And now I can drag a box around those 2 and go Combine. And this time we're going Weld to join them together. I've got a teeny tiny gap here, which is very small. The Cricut will not be able to cut that. To remove it, click the panel and then go to Contour. Find the tiny gap either by clicking it there or in the list down the right hand side, and then close, and it will hide it. We'll do the next one with this tree here. And this is going to work very similarly. So I got my tree. I really like how that's going to look with all those lines. And it's over the edge a little. So we'll duplicate one of these. Put it over, making sure we can't see any of that window gap, this little gap through the hole. Select that and press Shift and choose the tree. And slice. Delete the 2 leftover blue bits. and the bit of my red that went over the edge. And then drag a box around them and go combine and weld to join. And I think I'll take out a few of those gaps, just these little ones, either side of the tree. And there, number 5 done. Only one left to go. This time I'm going to change things up a bit. I'm not going to use that tree, so I'll just delete it. And I'll show you how you can combine multiple images within one panel. I've got this tree, nice and simple, so I can make it small. And we'll add lots of them in here. So I'll duplicate. Let's try a few different sizes. Just doing different sizes, different sort of rotations. Now, at the minute, this wouldn't be great because even though all the trees are touching the edge, they're not joined to each other, so they're gonna not be very stable within the ornament, especially if you decided to leave off the inner shapes. So either just make some of them a bit bigger so they end up touching. That actually works pretty well. But I've still got quite a lot of gaps. So another thing you can do is choose other images that complement it. For instance, on this one, seeing as we're doing trees, stars would fit nicely. At this point, it doesn't matter if your pieces are different colours, because we'll fix all that at the end when we come to weld it. Put a few stars in here. I'm going to leave that star not touching anything because it is quite small, so I think I can get away with it. And maybe one more. If you need to zoom in to make it easier to see what you're doing, make that one bigger. And I don't know if I need that one or not, but there. I don't actually have anything going out around the edge, so that's great. I don't need to slice any bits off, but I do need to join all these pictures together. If we just pretend I did have something going off the side, just so I can show you really. I'm just going to do that, even though that is not showing at all. It's just for the purposes of showing you how to slice it. All right, so I'm going to select all of these, all my little shapes, and go combine and weld to join them into one. And that way you can do exactly what we did before. Place one of these over the top. Select them both and slice. If none of your images are going over the edge, you can leave that bit out. And then select them both, combine, weld to join together. On this one, there aren't any tiny gaps, so that's looking great. I don't like this little gap in my tree here. I'm going to fill this in. Being fussy now. There we go. Okay, so that's it. I've got my 6. Zoom out. There are my 6 sides of my Christmas tree bauble. I would recommend saving at this point because you've put a lot of effort in. You don't want to lose all that work. I'm just going to add that in and save. And then we can just change the colour if you want to, and then get it all cut out. To change the colour, you only need to select one. And I'm thinking green and then cut gold underneath. So I'll choose one of them as green, one of those as a kind of goldy colour. And then the super quick way to do this is to press Colour Sync on the top right and then drag all of one colour into the other to change everything at once. and all of that one into that one. And if you want to, you can move the little inner panels just to see if you're happy with your colour combination. But I think that's looking great, so let's click Make. And if you want to, you can change the paper size down in here and move things about. And I am also going to change the paper for that one. I think I can get all that onto one sheet of card. Let's have a play. Move those about. Make sure nothing overlaps, otherwise it won't cut out properly, but none of those bits are touching. And then I can move object, click my other green, that one there, click the 3 lines, move object, select the other green. Yours might not be green, depends what colour you've chosen. And that one as well. I do not want to use 2 sheets of cardstock when it would all fit on as one. And there we go. All right, brilliant. That's now ready for me to cut. So when you're happy with how everything's looking, press continue to connect to your Cricut, get everything cut out from cardstock. Now in this video, I'm not going to show you how to put the bauble together because I've already done that in a separate video. So what I will do is link to that video in the description of this one, so you can go ahead and watch that video if you're not sure how to put it together once it's all been cut. But for now, let's just skip straight ahead and I'll show you how it looks when it's all finished and put together. Here's what my Christmas tree ornament looks like when it's all put together. I love how it looks with all the different pictures on the different sides. Now I did make a slight little boo-boo with my design, which is on this one. So I just put the bottom of the tree trunk a little bit too close to the edge, so my yellow underneath doesn't quite cover it up all the way. So that's something I will need to tweak in my project if I make another one. But apart from that, it all turned out really, really well, and I love how it looks. So I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make your own custom 3D ornaments in Cricut Design Space. And I thought before I go, I'll just show you a couple more ornaments that I made. All of these use the images within Cricut Access. So I've got a little owl one. And in this one, I've done a mandala design where the same mandala stretches across 3 sides. So you get a really nice kind of symmetrical pattern that stretches all the way around. And then I've done another one with some cardinal birds. And this one's a little different because the birds are actually stuck on top of the sides rather than being part of the sides. So as long as you choose images that are small enough to fit, that is another way to add even more depth and dimension to your ornaments. Now there's one more thing that we can do with these, and that is to add our own photographs. For example, here's one with some lovely stock images of a family enjoying their Christmas. And this is done using the print and cut feature of Design Space. And it's a really nice way to make fully custom and bespoke ornaments for your family or friends. And if you'd like to know how to do this and add in your own photographs, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel as I'll be releasing the tutorial for this very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!